Greetings everyone, and welcome back. Hope everyone is doing great. Boy, what a week it's been. I'm continuing my Blood Death Knight journey, or the journey of blood, depending on how you want to see it. And let me tell you, this tank is no joke in terms of difficulty, and I'm definitely feeling the pain of learning it. In this video, we'll take a look at a plus 14 Magisters Terrace and talk about what I did well, the mistakes I've made, and what went wrong, plus a few tips here and there. As always, let's dive in. Right from the get-go, I need to get into the habit of using my abilities differently and keeping my emotions in check. I think this one was one of the first hierarchies I ran on a Blood Death Knight, so I was a bit nervous. As you can see, I'm trying to do way too much at once. Set up my defensive, pull runic power, position all the mobs correctly from the start, and of course survive. Unfortunately, all of these made me somehow blind to that pesky enforcer that slipped away right past me and ended up killing my poor warlock. Other than that, just interrupt the casters, the arcane bolts and polymorphs, and the pull should be good. Moving on, the infamous lust pull goes much smoother. My nerves calm a bit down, and I'm pretty happy how this whole pull went. And of course, over here, we pop the lust and we go to town. Be sure to always interrupt as much as possible, and me as a Blood Death Knight, I'm always looking even for the pseudo interrupts, right? The stuns, the grips, on trying to interrupt those casters. Let's take a moment to acknowledge the amazing DPS on my team and how they completely evaporated a pull. Yeah, healing wise, everything went flawless as well, so a pretty successful pull. From here, we engage the Pyromancer, and I have a quick tip over here. For the Ignition cast as a Blood Death Knight, you can completely avoid the dot with AMS. Quite frankly, I find myself experimenting a lot with AMS, and it's a great and interesting tool to have. Then, disaster hits. Again, I'm trying to do more rather than taking it slow and trying to get into a nice and healthy pacing, and in my head over here there was nothing yelling but don't pull just one mob, pull more. And I overpulled the pack with the Pyromancer and the Brightscale Worms. Unfortunately, this leads to another pack of worms being pulled. It wasn't my intention, and unfortunately my healer pays the price and dies.
I need to target something first.
My plan over here was to keep one pack of worms with the Pyromancer and another pack of worms for the boss, or of course for increased funnel and damage buff. I ended up using my combat res, and we move on. We finish up the remaining pack on the left and engage the boss. There are a few interesting interactions here. AMS can soak the orbs during refueling protocols, making it much safer for the group if me, I can take them. Also, Death's Advance can cancel Repulsing Slam, the tank pushback, so you can better control the position of where you are going and avoid the possibility of overpulling the lateral packs. Unfortunately, I tried using Shadow Melt to cancel a tank knockback and ended up getting my Demon Hunter killed. The idea here was to see if it works. The only problem was the execution, meaning that I didn't taunt it as fast enough to get the boss back on me. It was very messy, as I was the last man standing, but we somehow killed him. Thank God. The next pack is a dangerous one. I tried to establish some solid aggro on the worms, and slowly but surely move forward with the packs. Basically, the entire idea is to get almost half a corridor. The packs will contain enforcers, a magister, healers, and a spellbreaker. As many of us probably experience up until this point this season, this pull is extremely painful up until the worm buff kicks in. And of course, here I pop up my anti-magic zone in hopes that it would help reduce the damage intake and give the healer a bit of breathing room. All cooldowns should be used here, meaning defensive ones and offensive ones, so the pack dies faster. To be completely honest with you guys, this entire corridor is dangerous. But the icing on the cake is the pack right before the boss. 2 spellbreakers and a healer. My god. The spellbreakers are particularly brutal because of Runic Glaive, the arcane infused glaive that deals heavy arcane damage and leaves a nasty 10-second dot on the target. Because it bounces and hits 2 targets, and we're having 2 spellbreakers, that means that 4 out of the 5 people will get affected. On top of that, the healer shields the spellbreakers, making the whole process of killing them even longer. Of course, if you don't have a purge effect. Serenel's Sunlash is the second boss and is our second lust of the run. The mechanics are pretty straightforward over here. 2 players at the time receive marks, indicated by the circle and the red arrow. They require extra healing, and the only way to remove the mark is to step into the suppression zone. Be careful to remove this one at a time, as for each mark removal, the whole group takes damage. AMS tip over here, it completely negates the application of the mark on you, making it much easier to stay healthy. Wave of Silence is the other boss ability, and basically until the cast is finished, get yourself in the suppression zone to avoid getting silenced altogether. After that is just rinse and repeat, a pretty easy encounter to manage, as it can be seen with no issues at all during it. After Serenel, we make our way back through the corridor we came, pulling basically everything right until the door we got in. Everything goes pretty smooth here, nothing to mention, just one caster that needs to be interrupted constantly, so damage can be a bit avoided, I guess, but nothing dangerous. Now that we've got back outside and the whole terrace is infested with void creature, Shadow Rift Voidcaller is our main target and baddie that we focus, with the Void Terror Patrol pack running nearby. Fortunately, as you can see, even with body pulling extra mobs, we deal with all of them with no major incidents, focusing on interrupting the terror wave, which is an AoE fear, and using defensive while the Voidcaller does heavy AoE damage. On to the next room. Gemellis encounter will take place in this room. And basically, I've split the room in 2 separate pools. One with the Devouring Tyrant, which has the Absorb shields, the healer mechanic, and one with the Shadow Rift Voidcaller. Basically the same baddie that we faced a few pulls before, with the AoE, heavy AoE damage. Always making sure to chain once mobs die and the danger is over. The third boss of the dungeon, Gemellis, it's basically a squid. And then this encounter consists of managing pool positions, reaching the highlighted squid in order to remove the shield, and also avoid getting sucked in. This is the name of the game. The encounter goes without any incidents. My focus here is to always try and keep at least 2 or 3 targets together in order to cleave. Death's Advance here is a great tool against Astral Grasp. Basically, it negates the pull, the grab by. And also AMS is used to avoid getting the dot from the pull by Cosmic Sting. The pull still appears under you, so be careful there. Be careful to move and position it properly, but the dot is not on you. And up the stairs we go. Like before, we need only to make sure to interrupt the terror wave, the AoE fear, as it is the only important cast, the only cast and the only important cast. And again, up we go. I must admit here, I didn't adjust the route with the Warlock Gate skip in mind. I usually pull the Tyrant and the Void Caller that guards the boss's entrance. But of course we readjusted a bit and we finished the entire enemy count at 100 and something % most likely. Having some situations where we overpulled, of course. The Gentrius, the last boss of the run. I'm gonna give a TLDR that I found out after I did the run, so basically the gameplay is not on par with how I should be able to manage this boss. It was from my understanding that I need to stand firmly, of course, in your assigned pizza slice quadrant. Because when the boss casts at range, you don't actually need to stand in its face. Stay in your zone and let threat modifiers do the work. Never touch the void torrent beams as they stun you. Null bomb. When the bouncing orb enters your slice, just step into it so it doesn't detonate. Basically, you step into it as a passing node, right? So it doesn't blow up. Hulking fragments. Stand tightly against the inner point of the beam edge when the physical hit lands. Then instantly death strike the damage. And try, of course, to coordinate with your healer for the dispel. So the pull, you can stack the pulls as much as possible, but beware of your health and your defensives. And also, as usual, as I'm trying to learn, pop AMS aggressively to negate the unstable Void Essence dot, and drop AMZ if it is not on cooldown to protect your party members during the heavy group-wide magic phases.
Suppression zone.
This is my Magister Terrace 14 run. Thank you everyone for watching. If you enjoyed this type of content, please leave a like, a comment, and if it's possible and you enjoy... If you enjoyed this type of content, please leave a like, share, and a subscribe. It really helps a lot. And also, I would like to give an update over here. Considering the timing situation and my schedule over now, I will try to push as much as possible with this character, with the Blood Death Knight. And my idea is, being a newbie and such, a great stopping point would be all 15s in time, especially due to the fact that Season 1 is almost ending and Season 2, A New Horizon, is coming up, and I'm really excited about it. And we will see what types of adventures Season 2 brings us. I will, of course, keep everyone posted. As always, thank you very much for your time, and have a great one.